Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. LilyPie101 here. Today's video is going to be on why I personally don't think you need perks as a survivor. During my streams, I often get asked what perks I use to play well or how I play so well overall, in which my answer typically boils down to, it doesn't actually matter. You need the experience, not the perks. And I'm also a firm believer that perks are actually there to enhance your gameplay and not make or break your gameplay completely. Unless, of course, it's something needed like borrow time or decisive strike, for tunneling camping purposes. I understand that. But one of the best examples for this is actually Dead Hard. Dead Hard is that one perk that a lot of survivors use that makes or breaks their gameplay. And I get it. Dead Hard is super popular. I mean, when I first started playing, I did use Dead Hard, but that was because everybody else told me to use it, and I also saw everybody else using it anyways. But as I got more experience, I moved away from Dead Hard because I realized I actually don't need that. I have enough experience to get by with no exhaustion perks. I mean, I started using Dead Hard, then I moved to Sprint Burst, and now I use Head On. And Head On, when you're actively in a chase, doesn't actually help you all that much for distance unless the killer literally walks past your locker and it's already charged, etc. Anyways, I've been playing DBD since about late 2019. I'm Devotion 22. I have 4.5k hours in the game. So it's safe to say I have my own fair share of experience, but I also did binge a lot of YouTube content and streams when I first started playing too. So there's that. The majority of my DBD hours have also been racked up during my streaming career, so you can track my progress of me literally getting better at the game through old clips, highlights, YouTube videos, and more junk as well. But since I've been starting my streams around March 2020, I want to say, I actually decided to do viewer Swift because I actually hated solo queue. And now the people that I've played viewer Swift with, they pick up on a lot of the things that I teach them. And from what I've been told by a large majority, it really does help cut out a lot of the actual time it would take if they were learning from their own experience. Overall, I'll be going over a lot of that stuff and how I'd simply play as a good survivor, even without perks. Usually when I load into a match, the first thing that I try to do is find the killer, actually. I know, I'm such a goblin. But this time I actually managed to find a really cute Fang, and she started moonwalking, so I kind of had to moonwalk with her. So Fang ended up searching a chest, I ended up working on a gen. These are normal things, so Lloyd was getting chased the whole time, and yeah, you should just be on a gen or doing some sort of other objective like finding totems. That's just what you should do. So I don't know if the killer has barbecue, but at this point I'm assuming they might because the terror radius does approach. I start figuring out where to run to, have my escape route plan, but Fang takes the chase, and then we end up going outside together, and this is when I let her handle the chase, and then I continue on going to another gen. So Demo's terror radius starts to approach, and then this is when I decide to take my escape route yet again after the Steven gets hit. He tries to follow me. He misses his shred because he does not realize the distance. With experience, he would realize that though, but it could just be miscalculation. I pay very close attention to where his red stain is at all times, but then I also keep track of the actual audio that I'm hearing as well. He doesn't keep track of me, however, and he seems to lose me around there, and I try to get him back towards me. But scratch marks can be a little bit finicky on the killer side. But he starts going towards the Steven yet again. I mean, for some reason he doesn't injure the Steve, but he does walk off. So I don't know. And then I just give Steven a prompt heal, and then we're on our way. Okay, but I noticed the Steven was actually really cute as well. I mean, look at him. Right, so Fang ends up getting hooked, and then at this point, I just decide to stick around. I'm also making sure to hide my scratch marks. A lot of people are not very keen on that, but I also know he's gonna camp because 2 gens have popped and he only has 2 hooks, so he's gonna stay around the hook and bait and see if anybody's coming, but I know I don't have borrowed, so I'm going to wait. Right, but just as I start healing her, yes, he comes back. So at this point, I want to take aggro so that she does not get tunneled. Yes, I know he wants pressure, but I am healthy and I have no hook save, so I try to force myself into a chase. Steven comes over. I'm not really sure what he's doing, but I don't mind. I try to get the flashlight saved, but I have no exhaustion perk to make it in time. So I start running away, and with that in mind, I do think about tokens because there is 1 gen remaining, and I would not like our team to be screwed over by Noed, but he does start chasing me, so the best thing that I can do is try to loot for the remaining gen. I also kind of have a nasty setup over here with a pallet and Tashak, and then I've also got some other remaining pallets, but I just go ahead and waste the Tashak pallet because, I mean, hey, it's the very end of the game and I can afford to waste any resources at this point. I just need to keep it busy, that's all. And if pre-dropping helps, hey, it helps. We also see Steven make an appearance yet again, and I don't really mind because Steven tries to take aggro. Steven's not on death hook, so it's not a problem, but the demo still wants to chase me, it seems. But again, we're just looping for the remainder gen, so it's not a problem. Also, it's not a requirement, but I do blind sometimes at windows or pallets for extra distance. In this case, I have no exhaustion perks or anything anyway, so might as well. So, the last gen has popped, but I do notice that he's on the Lori down here. And keep in mind, I don't have Iron Will, but with how loud Lori's screams can be at times, they kind of overlap, and a lot of killers would seemingly not notice, as well as how loud Demo is. But I managed to get the flashlight save. Now, I know a lot of survivors, they have different breathing sounds as well as different grunts and moans of pain, but Claudette is fairly quiet when it comes to breathing, so I use her a lot of the time for flashlight saves if I have Iron Will, but if I don't have Iron Will, like you just saw, I have to be pretty careful. Now, Lori does get hooked again, but at this point it doesn't really matter because Demo does enter into another chase with me. They have another exit gate done because I immediately open it after saving her, and then, hey, they're out. But I'm gonna go over to this exit gate and then open it myself for some extra points. So, Lori does get down and then picked up, you can tell by the bar pulsing, but she doesn't have DS, so I'm assuming she is going to get tunneled. However, the demo does let her go. What a nice demo. So that was basically it for the video. Super simple. You don't really need perks to play a survivor. A lot of times you may need perks in certain situations, but I feel like survivors are definitely really dependent on exhaustion perks, but again, they're not always needed. Lastly, I'd recommend playing a few rounds perkless as well. Sometimes it can be a great way to test yourself and see whether you actually are relying on certain crutches. I also wanted to include this really quickly. It turns out that the Steve in the game was actually a viewer of mine from the streams, which I was super excited to see. I know I don't do a lot of YouTube content, but being recognized even offline from streams and stuff, it really feels nice, and it really made my night, and it actually encourages me to make more content. Well, until the next video, see you guys later, and probably on stream.
I'ma make you pump like that.